What's the SLTest thing you've ever done? I once jerked off to the comment section of an Ascretic post. Was at a bar when a girl sat next to me and asked if I wanted to make out. I said yes. Partly helped by all the shots downed earlier. Ended up having a threesome with her and her ex in a bedroom upstairs. Only learned their names the day after. The guy ended up becoming my boss a few weeks later. One time I was playing GTA Online as a female character and some dude came up to me asking if I wanted a good time. As any reasonable person would do. I said yes and got in his car. He made me crouch in front of him to blow him and he would air thrust in my direction. All the while messaging me oh yeah and ugh kind of thing. As terrible as it sounds. He would protect me from other players and would pull out his super nice brand new DLC cars for me to drive around in and he would carry me through missions for his money. I even would make him take me out to burger and taco places before he could have his way with me. 10/10 would do it again. Help me pay for my first nice car. Edit. I'm dude. A year later. One time a girl drove 2 hours to have sex with me. We had sex pretty much all day but my dad was about to be some so I was trying to get her to leave. Well my dad arrived so I force her to go out the back. When she's walking to her car in front of my house my dad goes look. Cute girl go get her number little did he know. He knew. Banged a dude in the parking lot of the school. Swiped right onto 100 girls and only matched with a bot. Does reluctant sex work count? Used to clean houses naked for money. I'm poor. And I'm trying to apply to med school. I missed my stop reading these. Met a girl on Tinder. We went to the mall together. Within a few minutes. We were in her car next to a rather busy car dealership f***ing each other's brains out. Dealership workers definitely saw. Nearly every other time we had sex. We were in her car on public property. One chick at the same time. Was the boy toy for 2 Balinese women. They met me at the bar. Brought me around the island with their driver. Stayed at hotels. They just said I had to FCK them when they said so. This went on for 4 days. Edit. Thank you everyone for affirming my biggest fear. I have peaked and it's all downhill from here. Pleasure being on this ride with you lot. I fingered a girl's ass in the Pacific Ocean. Colloquially known as a Pacific Rim job. I had sex with 2 different girls the same night by telling one I had to work at 9 and told the other I got off work at 9. Also I did it at my neighbors that I was dog sitting for. I FK'd a guy I had met an hour prior. In a small supply closet. At a bar in New York City. The door didn't close all the way. And at one point. A busboy was walking up the stairs to go to the rooftop. And he caught us. We frantically were pulling our pants up. Apologizing. And he just chuckled and told us to finish. We did not finish. He's a busboy. Just hand him $5 and gesture to keep moving. FK'd a girl in the Wet Republic Club pool in Las Vegas that I had met about 90 seconds prior. The only thing I know about her is she was 36 at the time. How does this even happen? I once made a hot girl character in an MMO, Perfect World, and Raoul played as a girl to get SHT from people. I barely managed to keep it up for 4 days before the creep factor got too heavy. But I cannot deny the results. I felt like an utter SLT. But by god did I make some serious progress. I got a handjob from 2 sisters. I sat in the middle of the car and they both played with my penis. Was a great night. A few years ago. I got a blowjob from 2 girls that looked very much alike. And they would switch off. As much as I begged them to go at it simultaneously. I've always suspected. But I guess I'll never know. The other great part of this story. I had just given them a ride back to their car in my pedicab. They get out. First girl asks me how much. I'd already had a good night. And we'd been flirting the whole time. So I told her just put a smile on my face. Hoping she'd flash me or something. She gives me $10. and keeps flirting. Maybe 7-8 minutes later, she's pulling my dick out. She sucks it for a few seconds, pulls back, and says, "Hold up. Gimme my $10 back." I did. And shortly after, her sister, joined in. The way she asked for her money back always makes me laugh when I think about it. Edit. This is my most upvoted comment. By a huge margin. Goddamn Reddit. A girl used to blow me for rides home from work. She lived like 10 minutes from work. And I didn't miss a shift in almost 2 years before she moved. Thinking back on it at 16-18, I was pretty happy at the time. But now that I think about it, I feel kinda bad. Watch a ganado. I met the girl because I went outside at a party to have a smoke and found her bawling her eyes out because she broke up with her boyfriend. 10 minutes later we were upstairs in an empty room f***ing like rabbits. I always feel like this is worst thing I've done. Second would be the hottest 60+ YO woman I met while getting drunk in a jacuzzi at a hotel area. We were staying there for my grandmother's 70th anniversary shindig. So my whole family was there. I was invited back to this woman's room after a lot of drinks and learned a lot of new shit when it comes to sex. But goddamn was she in good shape and looked great for her age. Smashing that PSSY into the afterlife. My GF gave me a blowjob in the back of a car while her best friend drove. I caught her watching us in the rearview mirror. Bareback FK'd a dancer at a local strip club. Alcohol clouds judgment. And an hour later bareback FK'd her mom, who also was a part-time dancer at the club. Dude. Probably the time I FK'd my step-cousin in a shed at my actual cousin's wedding. We boned again later at the condo I was staying at. I made my brother go upstairs with my noise-cancelling headphones before she got there and told him to listen to loud music for a while. Bro. Move. Bro moved. Bro move. I FK'd my co-worker at work on top of the bar. And in the handicap stall in the women's bathroom. And then the bathroom sink counter. After we closed, of course. Also met a guy at a bar when I just went to have a bratwurst and be left alone. He was in town for business and leaving early the next day. I offered to show him around the city. He said sure. I was on my period. But I have an oral fixation. So I had a one-night stand with throat fucking. A girl I'd never met in person before texted me wanna bang? Here at 2:30 am right after I got home from a party. I took an Uber to her place. I discovered she looked nothing like her pictures. We FK'd anyway because I was drunk. And I took an Uber back. I was gone for a total of 47 minutes. The worst part was when she asked me if it was worth dinner as I was leaving. I thought she was joking, so I just laughed. She looked at the floor and said, "Oh, never mind." I didn't think so anyway in the most dejected voice. I felt really bad about that. 3 different people at 3 different times of the same day. 2 of them always treated me terribly. Had sex in the mosh pit of a Marilyn Manson concert. To the jealous girl that kept pulling my hair from behind every time I got in a rhythm. Thank you. You bought me another 5 minutes. In my wild days, I had a threesome with one of my friends with benefits and a girl he knew. The FWB had been drinking and fell asleep during it. So the girl and I kept going with each other. When we were finished, she left. And I had sex with the other guy living in the apartment. He fell asleep during a threesome. Dude has to pace himself. 5 people in 4 days. All individual, so it wasn't like an orgy or anything. Related but separate occasion. 4 people at once. It wasn't like an orgy or anything. Met a guy at a party. Went back to his place. We started having sex and he suddenly started crying and talking about his ex. He locked himself in the bathroom. His roommate shows up a minute later and I FCK him instead. Before going back to the party. Lol. That almost wasn't SLTTY. But then it was. Nice. I've been having a SL relationship with my boss for the last 6 months or so. We're both single. And I'm his kid's nanny. Bravo. You've managed to recreate a PRN plot that he can talk about on the next SX@UVSZ post. I once got a blowjob in the back of my parents' car while my parents were driving. They knew. Some girl offered to blow me if I bought her cookies from McDonald's. Got a $1.07 blowjob that night. I felt pretty grimy after that. Ate someone's ass on the first date. It was my date's ass. Not someone else there. I had sex in the elevator of a parking garage downtown with a guy within 10 minutes of meeting, and to this day I have no clue what his name is. Yes. Had sex with 4 girls in college. Not knowing they were all friends. Nor leading any of them on. Tried to have a relationship with one, and that's when it all blew up and I learned the awful truth. You flew too close to the sun. IFK, this chick my best friend hooked me up with. She left, I went to bed with no shower. In the morning my ex-girlfriend shows up to my place. Things start getting heated, she proceeds to suck my dick, tasting all of the other girl from the night before. Yeah, pretty sleazy. Met a girl in Las Vegas at an EDM concert while on coke for the first time. I don't normally experiment with drugs. She was dancing staring at me, said she really liked my beard. We exited the dance floor and she was telling me she won a Sunday school teacher. Followed by don't worry I still know how to have fun, and in short order after that said she was going to FCK me as soon as we left. We found my friend that I was sharing a room with, told him I was headed back and he shouldn't come back anytime soon. Wink wink. Me and the lady make it to the taxi where she says she's not wearing any panties. I checked, she wasn't, and she liked it. Long story short, and we get to the room and she tells me I can do anything I want to her. She stayed the night, we went at it in the morning, and she left without stealing anything, which was a nice bonus. For whatever reason we exchanged numbers and she would send me dirty videos. Mid-20s were a crazy time. I shower naked in front of other men. At the gym. Driving for Uber. Picked up an unattractive girl who just got stood up on a Tinder date. She mentioned the guy could have gotten laid easily. I volunteered and went in her place with her. She turned out to be the female version of the South Park WoW guy. Worked in IT. House looked like a hoarder lived there. Garbage all around the place. Vibrators just laying out in the open in her bedroom. Afterwards she asked me if she could still tip or if that would be prostitution. 5-star ride. Full disclosure. It went about exactly as you'd all imagine. Awkward. And rushed. But I'm not ashamed. Big girls need love too. For the others asking how you can hook up with someone who's unattractive. The only answer I have is a good imagination can get you through some rough times. I had sex with 4 girls and 2 guys in the same week, all individually, when I was 19. Thanks to everyone for making this my top comment of all time. It even beat out the one about birth control and my psycho ex. And on the 7th day you rested. I presume. I plugged a few Skittles into my butthole and told my girlfriend to taste the rainbow. Skittles. F-king what? I went to a different state to visit my boyfriend. His parents picked me up from the airport in a big van. I blew him while they were taking to us. It was real bad. They knew. Not terribly SLTTY, but I've been sleeping with the foreign exchange student my family is hosting. I wasn't a virgin, but she was. Wore a butt plug to Chick-fil-A Saya. Hooked up with an older lady, I was 25, she was probably 40-45. This was before Uber. So didn't have a ride home that morning. She had to take me to her kid's basketball game. Got a hand job during the game. Then she drove me home. Had sex with someone just so I had somewhere to stay that night. Not homeless. Just a drunk 18-year-old dickhead at the time. I slow danced with a girl once. Without a doubt. This is the furthest I've ever read into a comment thread on Reddit. This shit is fascinating. I showered while only wearing a swimsuit. I had sex with my wife before work instead of before bed. I had sex in the back of car with my best friend's ex-girlfriend on 2 separate occasions. Only a few weeks after they broke up. Then I started sleeping with that girl's older sister only a couple of weeks after that. The older sister is now my girlfriend and knows all about it. Somehow we have family meals together without me being crucified. But I still feel pretty dirty about it. As much as she acts like she doesn't care. You know damn well she will remember that little fact for the rest of the relationship. You didn't do the dishes? You were f***ing my sister again, huh? I held a girl's hand once. Edit. Jesus. FCK. Gold now too. I set up this dumb f***ing novelty account 2 weeks ago. And it already has more karma and more gold than my main. Which I've had for 4 years. Also. Thanks for the gold. Or what the FCK ever. I repeatedly pressed crouch on a Christian Minecraft server. Got cum in the holes where my wisdom teeth used to be 2 days after I got them removed. This made me want to bounce from tiptoe to tiptoe. Fanning my face. All the while going ew. I forgot to pray yesterday. Tried to butt CK a chubby girl I met at a party with Country Croc. I'm not wearing a bra right now. You're a guy. Right? I've done a threesome on multiple occasions. Always 2 guys and me. Did a foursome with 2 guys and a female friend. I FK'd a guy and then walked across campus and FK'd a second guy. It was the early to mid 80s. Perfect week. This might get buried but. 1. FK'd a guy in the college dorm common area. 2. Got drunk and woke up in a guy's dorm. Proceeded to have sex. I have no idea who he was. He denies it now. 3. Let 4-5 guys. All older than my dad. Have their way with me in exchange for copious amounts of cocaine. 4. Hooked up with the table I was serving. Repeat 4 times with other customers. 5. Let a guy set up an appointment for me to have sex with a random unknown dude in his car in a parking lot. 6. Had sex with a guy who made me hide in a closet because he thought he heard his GF. 7. Had sex with 3 different guys at different times in one day. I could probably continue. I had sex with a girl who I thought was a WHRE in her parents' garage up against her father's truck. Turns out she was a virgin. Well, years later I actually hung out with her a few times and it turns out we got along well. I have been married to her for more than 10 years now. When I was 16, I had sex with a random 40-year-old woman from Craigslist in the woods behind a church at night in the summer. Once we met up, I asked if she minded me being 16. She said no. I don't mind at all. I think that's the first time I had sex and enjoyed every minute of it. Except for the mosquito bites. Pretty sure that's statutory rape. I sucked off a guy I met on FetLife in my own home. We never exchanged any names either. He just walked in, dropped drawer, sat down and I got to work. My husband takes me to adult bookstores and videos me sucking cock through glory holes on a fairly regular basis. Lately we've been visiting the back theater room when we go, which always draws a crowd. This may not be the SLTest thing I've ever done, but it's contemporaneous with this thread so I'm going with it. This girl showed me her ankle and I glanced at it. I showered and had sex with 2 girls in a camping shower stall when I was 15. FCK the wife after F-king my girlfriend after she had F-ked her boyfriend. However, by our standards it's just our relationship dynamic and not really all that SLTTY. I did once almost FCK a girl I had just met a few hours earlier on a golf course at 3 AM. Didn't have a condom on me so I figured I'd just go down on her. That was kind of SLTTY though in hindsight. Back alley BJ while I was in Vegas. Pretty tame compared to most of the stories here. Once got paid $40 to make out with someone at a party. I'm a 25-year male. She was not the most attractive woman, but I was in college and $40 felt like $200. I FK'd a girl in an apple orchard. I was playing Overwatch with my girlfriend and spent the entire match healing some random girl on our team that I just met instead of her. It was a birthday party for one of my friends in high school. We were all watching a movie on this inflatable screen in their backyard. I was sitting next to my girlfriend at the time. And we had a blanket over us to keep warm. She then proceeded to give me a handy underneath the blanket. I was convinced no one knew. Everyone knew. Never felt like more of a SL00T in my life.